We took that first step. The first step is that, okay, let's commit a week or two to this. Let's just, get into this. It was being able to commit that time. You learn just enough that, it's just so close. We gotta look at this. And then it really has been like that all the way. I still see the light at the end of the tunnel. But,
you almost regret that you started research.
I'm thinking it's a train coming at me.
6 years ago, there were many trains a day going south from Canada, completely full of lumber, to California to build all the houses that now can't be sold. And now you don't see any lumber going that way. Coal going north to Vancouver and then to China. We like to think, because sort of in our lifetimes, this digital universe has been running faster and faster and faster. Every time you buy a computer, it goes twice as fast. But in the digital universe, there really is no time. The time as we know it just does not exist in that universe. Computer is not operating on time. It just operates on sequence. Something happens, and the next thing happens, and the next thing happens. You ask for the next instruction, execute that instruction, go to the next one. And now we impose, it's sort of like circuit breakers. When we build our microprocessors, we say, okay, and you can't do anything until the clock says it's, a nanosecond later and you can do the next step. But the computers actually don't need that at all. They could be totally asynchronous and just, so we've sort of imposed our clock on their system.
What is the implication of that?
Well, the implication is that this other world exists now that's not tied to our form of time at all.
What we had found is when markets move fast, a lot of market participants pull back. And while that sounds like a sort of a simple thing, that's pretty much it. When market participants pull back when markets move fast. So how do you solve that? Well, how about saying when markets move fast, we're going to stop the market from trading to give participants a time to come back in. First, we spoke with all the exchanges and we met with a bunch of different market participants, and very quickly we put in what's now been known as the circuit breakers, which for certain sets of stocks and for funds, we pause the market for 5 minutes if the price moves more than 10% in 5 minutes.
With the SEC's circuit breakers, though, these 5 minutes is like an eon and a long time, and it's set up that people could actually game them and cause delays in certain stocks by just simply forcing the price to go high enough.
They would do so only if they found that there was a way of capitalizing on that.
If you're the one that causes it, and anytime you know what's going to happen before somebody else does, that's just opportunity. And so they'll end up being magnets. So when you get if it's 10% breaker and you're at 9%, you're most likely going to see that 1% close a lot sooner than it would otherwise.
We operate on this time scale where 5 minutes is pretty fast. You could go out for a cup of coffee and come back and find that you'd lost $1 billion. That would ruin your day, and yet for these computers operating in microseconds, it makes no difference. So I think it's the circuit breakers is a case of sort of imposing our time scale on the computing time scale.
Could it happen again?
The same mechanism that caused it on May 6th is still there. In fact, we see it actually occurring more often where there's at least weekly, there's a pretty strong move in the E-mini. It's very similar to the first event. We just don't see them back to back, coupled with a lot of bad news.
And we really can't predict because we don't know, for instance, how the algorithms have changed now. Now that, everyone may have rewritten their codes to take advantage of the next time this happens. So the next time it happens, it will be different.
There must be a control room somewhere overseeing everything that's happening on the financial markets. Somebody.
No.
I don't believe there's any Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, no.
There is no air traffic control for the market. And there's no one person or one group that in real time sits and watches and says, wait, that order over there, hold on, let this order go through first.
It's so complicated. Just the volume of data alone is it's so overwhelming that, and the problem is that it keeps growing at this alarming rate.
The technology that would be required and the skill level that would be required to monitor markets across exchanges in multiple places at super high frequencies and know how to deal with it. The technology and know-how is typically not found in governments because it costs a lot and taxpayers probably don't want their money spent that way.
So you won't be able to find people who would be willing to do that work for
For free, effectively? Not so much. I don't think so.
The crash I expected, but not the recovery. It was the recovery that was a surprising thing. How did this thing suddenly go back to a more or less stable state? It is a little scary that we've given these machines so much power over our lives. On the other hand, you can take the other view that machine management of these systems may work a lot better. I mean, that's the optimistic view.
Look, humans are great because we invent things like computer trading strategies and autopilots, but we're not so good at executing a thing over and over, which is why we have machines build our cars once we design them. It's why we have computers fly our planes once we design them and design that algorithm and so on. It's just the same thing applied to markets. Maybe they've watched the Terminator movies too many times, I'm not sure, but as soon as anything sort of slightly odd happens in the markets, it's immediately, let's blame the quants, let's blame the computers. Computers, they do what you tell them. So if you understand what's been told to them, you understand the strategy.
So who knows what's inside the black boxes?
You hope somebody knows, but we don't even know. It's entirely possible, and I'm sure that there are companies doing it that are allowing those algorithms just to evolve on their own. Just letting the black box try different things with small amounts of money, and if it works, reinforce those rules. That's been done. We know that's been done. So then you actually have rules where nobody knows what the rules are.
Because the algorithms create new rules for themselves.
Yeah, you let them evolve the same way nature evolves organisms. You say that, well, every 1 out of 1,000 times you change something and see if it works better. And it's amazing how quickly you can evolve algorithms that work better.
If you are an investor, meaning that you wake up one morning and you say, I would really like to buy a stock that I've been tracking and I really understand that very, very well, then you can buy that stock.
Owning the stock market is historically, from the data I've looked at and studied, not been a particularly clever idea for a really long time.
The last time I traded was, I bought Apple in 2001.
I'm not afraid because all my money is in cash, earning no interest.
Well, I don't have $1 in the stock market, but it interests me. Just as a, so I'm sort of happy when it goes down, and it irritates me when it goes up. Why are these other people making money by not doing any work?
Stocks in the US, just in the last 10 years, have had 2 distinct declines of north of 50%. So to make 5% in a year, you're risking half your money. That, to me, is an awful trade. I don't make it.